I think some people turn off the humanity when they go to work. They may be, loving parents and loving friends and loving, children to their own parents, and yet for some reason there's a switch that they think that that's irresponsible to do at work. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily wearing your heart on your sleeve every day. There is something called emotional professionalism. If you're having a bad day, you can say, listen, I'm a little off my game today, but you can't sit in a meeting with your arms folded and be grumpy and give one-word answers. That's emotionally unprofessional. You can have hard feelings, but you can't go around screaming and yelling at people. You can have, so I think there is emotional professionalism. But I think for some reason, especially as people make their way up the ranks, they think that expressing any kind of emotion is a sign of weakness. Even that word vulnerability, we talk, it's such a common word now being talked about in the business world that you have to be vulnerable. To this day, it makes some people feel very uncomfortable. I don't want to be vulnerable. Well, all vulnerability means is saying things like, I don't know, or I need help, or I'm overwhelmed, or can you help me do this because I don't know how to do this, or I've been promoted to a position where maybe I need more training. And the reason we're afraid of saying that is for fear that it makes us look weak, which will then damage our careers. The reality is the total opposite. By saying I don't know means someone can help us. But instead we choose to lie, hide, and fake very often, which eventually gets revealed. Enough stress piled on that lying, hiding, and faking collapses either professionally or personally. We either feel the stress or the projects that we're working on start to go haywire. And very often when we get to those points, everybody knows anyway. The amazing thing that I've learned is when you say, can somebody help me? We're surrounded by people who would love to help us. They just didn't think we needed it because we acted as if we didn't. So I think a large part of it is quite frankly fear. Fear that if I express these things, that people will think I'm not qualified for my job, where the opposite is true. And remember, when you are in a position of leadership, you don't actually have to be better at doing the job that the people you lead. You have to be responsible for taking care of them to make sure they're good at their job. But for some reason, we think that I have to be better than you at your own job because I'm the leader. Completely false. I just have to make sure that you're equipped, you have the tools, the training, and the psychological safety to be the best you can be, even if it's better than me. We all make decisions based on an emotional reaction, not necessarily using the emotion of our gut. It's a sort of the naughty step, as Nanny Joe, Super Nanny Joe Frost, developed. I think has great value to us as adults as well, just to sort of take a break and cool off. When somebody sends you a rude email, don't reply back immediately. Wait. And 99 times out of 100, you'll go back and read it later and be like, whatever, but you don't get all flustered. Or write the response, but don't hit send. If you want to have the venting, don't hit send and maybe come back to it later. And I'm a great believer in tempering that emotional reaction. And I play a little game with myself, which is, before I make a decision, I ask myself, what good will come of this? Because I only want to make decisions where good will come of my decisions, right? And so I asked myself, what good will come of and the answer was, if I send something mean, what good will come of that? Nothing. I'll just inflame something. If I send something nice, and what good will come of it? Nothing there either, because it's artificial. I'm not being genuine. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up sending nothing at all, because I couldn't make a decision. I couldn't do something where something good will happen. So I did nothing. You have to have three things. One, you have to know why you do what you do. If you don't know why you do what you do, how will anyone else? You have to have clarity of why. Two, you have to have discipline of how. You have to hold yourself and your people accountable to your own guiding principles and your own values. And thirdly, you have to have consistency of what? Everything you say and everything you do has to prove what you believe. This is the concept behind authenticity. People are always telling us you have to be authentic. People prefer to buy from the authentic brand. They prefer to vote for the authentic candidate. What does that mean? How do you implement authenticity? If I send you home to your work tomorrow and say, please, the next thing you do, I want to make sure it's more authentic. What's the first thing you're going to do? No clue. What authenticity means is the things you say and the things you do, you actually believe. This is caveman stuff. The reason the human race is so successful is not because we're the strongest, it's not even because we're the smartest. It's because we're social animals. It's because we have the ability to form communities and cultures. What's a community? What's a culture?
It's a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. What's a country? It's a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. What's a company? It should be a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. When we're surrounded by people who believe what we believe, something remarkable happens. Trust emerges. Make no mistake of it, trust is a feeling. Trust is a human experience. Simply doing everything you say you're going to do does not mean people will trust you. It just means you're reliable. And we all have friends who are total screw-ups, and yet we still trust them. Trust is a feeling born out of a common set of values and beliefs, and our very survival depends on our ability to find those people so that we can form trust. When we trust them and they trust us, we're more willing, we're more likely to take risks, to explore, to experiment, which requires failure, by the way, all with the confidence that if we turn our backs or fall over or make a mistake, that someone from within our community will come to our aid or watch our back or help us up. Absent trust, we still have the will to survive. The difference is, it's every man for himself. Absent trust, we all try and push each other out of the way because we got to win, we got to compete, we got to live, we got to survive. This is what happened at Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers was very, very good at what they did. Very, very good at how they did it. But there was no sense of purpose or cause or why that bonded the company together. And at the slightest shake, the whole thing collapsed. Not in months, not in weeks, in days. That company collapsed in days. And that's because when stress started to show up, all the individuals said, I'm out of here. Got to look after numero uno. Got mouths to feed, got bills to pay. They're not the first organization to go through hard times. They're not the first organization to suffer financial scandal. The difference is in great organizations, in great cultures, and in great communities, when there is stress, the organization comes together to solve the problem. Absent trust, we back off and the thing collapses. The most basic human desire on the planet is to feel like we belong. Again, we are social animals and we all have the innate ability to do this. If I ask you to go out in the street and find all the people who believe what you believe, you know exactly what to do. You're going to strike up a conversation with someone. You'll either have good chemistry with them or you won't. You'll either get along with them quickly or it'll take some time. The point is, you know how to do it. Our survival depends on it. It's called dating, it's called making friends, it's called networking. We know how to do it. The problem is, it's not scalable.
So I wanted to prove that all marketing was the same thing. No matter what you were selling, it was always the same thing. Right? And good marketing talked about the buyer, and bad marketing talked about the seller. Make sense? I versus you, right? So to illustrate my point, I wanted to prove that what the homeless do and what Microsoft does is the same thing. So if you think about what the homeless do, there is advertising. They sit there with a little sign that says, I'm homeless, I'm hungry, I got 6 kids, I'm a veteran, like whatever, trying to appeal to everybody. That's called a little billboard, right? Microsoft has a billboard that says more memory, bigger screen, all the rest of it, right? More RAM, more ROM, right? And what the homeless are selling is goodwill. So if you walk past a homeless person and you put money in their cup, you feel good. If you give them nothing, you either feel nothing or feel bad. You paid for that feeling. There's an exchange of consideration. I sold you goodwill, you paid for it, you got it, right? They're selling goodwill, that's what they're doing. They're selling the feeling of goodwill. So I found a homeless person who was willing to help me, and her sign was pretty typical, and I found out that she makes between $20 and $30 a day selling goodwill, and she works an 8 to 10 hour day, right? $30 is considered a good day, right? Selling goodwill. And like I said, her sign was pretty typical. So I asked her if I could change her sign, and we did. And the sign that I gave her, she made $40 in 2 hours. The sign that I gave her said, if you only give once a month, please think of me next time. It wasn't about the seller, it was about the giver. What are the reasons people say they don't give? How do I know that they're genuine? I can't give to everyone. So I simply answered the questions. If you only give once a month, please think of me next time. I know you can't give to everybody, I'm legit. That's all, right? Now here's the point I was going to make. She could have made $150 that day, but after she made her $40 in 2 hours, she left. Because one of the reasons she's homeless, or we could surmise that one of the reasons she's homeless is she's decided that she needs $20 or $30 to live per day. So once she had it, she moved on. That's a narrative. It's a narrative, right? So she'll stay there because she didn't sit longer. It's a narrative. So there's a wonderful little trick you can use with your narrative, right? Just add the word yet at the end, okay? I'm not famous yet. I'm not that talented yet. I'm so bad, I'm not good at auditions. Like, I need to get better at, like I suck at auditions for now, right? You can just add a couple of words of hope or opportunity or the potential for future or some sort of infinite component that will profoundly change your narrative.